We are the family of God. Yes, we are the family of God. And He's brought us together to be one in Him, that we might bring light to the world.
World War II was over. Both the City of Longview and Community Church returned to a routine. Post-war prosperity and baby boomers precipitated growth everywhere, including church attendance. On a typical Sunday morning in the 1950s, almost half of all Americans were attending services. As attendance increased, the 1926 sanctuary building was no longer large enough to accommodate all activities.
The goal was to complete the original vision for a church campus with a building that emphasized classrooms and assembly rooms for church school growth and youth activities. As with the dreams for the original church building, costs dictated what could be constructed. The initial estimate of $160,000 was reduced to $110,000 by deleting the youth recreational building and chapel, and was financed with a building fund drive and a loan. The new facility was to be 3 stories including the basement, and had an apartment for a resident custodian. The same silver spade used in the 1925 groundbreaking saw service again in 1948 for the Christian Education Building, originally called the Annex.
Construction was delayed when a 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck in April 1949, causing structural damage to the church and tower. Bricks fell and plaster loosened. Some fallen bricks could be reused, but new ones were a different color and are still obvious today. After the delay, the Christian Education Building construction resumed. It was completed and dedicated in 1950. This was the congregation's 25-year dream, as expressed by the sanctuary's architect, H.L. Copeland.
The new building is dedicated to the teaching of little children and youth in the ways of God, to the winning of them to a personal relationship with Jesus, to the development of mature faith and full service as men and women, to Christian fellowship, and to a saving knowledge of Jesus Christ.
Coming years saw the community use the Christian Education Building for Lower Columbia Junior College classes, a nursery and kindergarten, meetings of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and for voting and blood drives. The 23 Club annual dinners began in 1948 and continued until 2018, when they outgrew our space. Increased Sunday attendance led to double shift services in 1954. Vacation Bible School, begun in 1933 and held on and off during the Depression and War, has continued annually since 1946. Continued growth led to the construction in 1956 of another addition, which included a music room and rooms for Sunday school and youth activities. With extra space available, church activities blossomed.
Small groups for different stages of life were active during this time, including temple stewards and temple builders for adult couples. There was also a youth council and a women's Bible study group. Outreach to the community and the world also continued with Reverend Gebbert's Thought for the Day phone messages, which expanded later to Dial-a-Thought on the radio.
In 1941, the women established a church library of donated and purchased books run like a public library. From a single bookshelf in the foyer, the library moved to larger quarters through the years as the collection grew. Their ideas and work did not stop with books. The Women's Assembly and circles reached out to those outside the community. They gave mission support in Europe, China, and India, to the Leper Fund, and to World Neighbors. They also sponsored displaced persons in camps in Germany following the war.
Our youth council first met downstairs, but as we grew, we moved to the balcony. 21 of us went on a mission trip in August 1958 to Southern California, where we conducted worship services and youth fellowship meetings in several churches.
Music was an important part of church life. It was an outlet of worship, sharing God's love, and having fun. The Cherub and Junior choirs and other children's groups presented programs complete with costumes and speakers and waving at parents. The Chancel Choir and Temple Singers performed several concerts with orchestras in the 1950s, including the Seven Last Words of Christ cantata. While the Messiah had been performed earlier, it began yearly performances in 1955 and continued for 55 years. The Battle Hymn of the Republic was a favorite throughout the years.